Hi, hopefully you can hear me alright properly over these sounds that are currently playing on screen. So today I'm just going to be going over the proper way of how to warm up as Widow. So everyone kind of has their own warm-up strategy or routine of what they do. What I normally do is go into practice range, work on certain types of aim patterns, because everyone has different aim patterns as Widow, but you should have, you personally, for one person, you should have different aim patterns that you use depending on what you're aiming at, right? So sometimes that might change for certain heroes, you might use a different aiming pattern, or it might change depending on how far away you are from them. Like, obviously if someone is very far away, you probably don't want to be flicking to them. Like, right now I'm at like medium to close range, so I'm doing mostly flicks. And if I get even closer, you do like even stronger flicks. Just like that. You want to work on really fast flicks at close range. Like that, like instant snaps. That's only for close range, really. And you can try for like medium range if you want. Kinda like that. And you gotta work on flicking both ways, so like left to right, which is my weak point, and right to left. And then you want to toss in some like jump shots, pretend like you're actually dodging. So I do like crouches. You gotta mix up your crouch patterns. You gotta figure out where you should have an idea of where your cursor is going to be at all times, even if you're crouching, right? So right now, even if I'm crouching, this fucks up my shot a little bit. But you should be able to time your shot so that either you want to be shooting when you're not crouching, or if you're really confident in where your cursor is going to be, you could be shooting while you're crouching. Just throw in some like random hook shots, because you gotta get comfortable doing that, especially on certain maps where you have to hook shot in order to get the picks you need. Like Paris. But Paris is a shit map to begin with, so... You don't have to 360 or 180 or whatever, but I just like to toss it in because it helps keep my cursor flexibility up so that I'm able to flick to anywhere on my screen. It's also important that you're comfortable with turning very quickly while staying in scope, because if you unscope, it loses a lot of time if a flanker is coming for you. So usually if like a tracer is trying to kill you, if your hook's on cooldown, you don't want to unscope, because you're gonna die anyways, so you might as well at least try to get a shot off. So here I'm just practicing again, mid-range, and then like I said, you go close range to do harder flicks, and then another good thing to do is to work on tracking. So just stand up here, and don't shoot the bots when they're standing still. This one likes to change its direction a little bit, which is good for practicing tracking. Try to follow the bots for as long as possible. It's not really about killing the bot here, but keeping your cursor on the head as long as possible. So here I'm just following it, tracking. Because tracking with Widow is also still very important, even though there are different types of Widows. Some Widows are better at tracking, and some Widows are better at flicking. I'd say it's probably best to use a mixture of both. I said I wasn't supposed to hit them when they were stopped, but that's my fault. Oh. And then once you've practiced mid and short range, it's a good idea to practice long range. So you can hop up on this thing over here, and practice your long range shots. I also like to mess with these bots a little bit because it helps practice being able to get shots through like really stiff areas. So with long range tracking and shooting, you don't really want to flick too much. I still have like a tiny bit of flick, but that's personal preference. I think you should mostly focus on crosshair placement with long range. And I'm crouching right now, but that's just kind of out of habit. You don't have to crouch. You just want to be able to, when you're warming up, get your crosshairs placed where you want it to be, because that's the toughest part of playing Widow, really, or playing any aim hero, is getting your crosshair to be where you think it should be. Because in our mind, if we could shoot exactly where we thought our crosshair was going to be, we'd all be getting headshots all the time. But the problem is, the muscle to mind coordination isn't quite there. So where you think your cursor is, isn't actually where your cursor is. Which is why focusing on target placement can be very important. So once you've done like your long range practice, if you ever watch Kefri's old warm-up video, one of the things that he likes to do actually is sit on this platform and walk and let it go around. He also does a similar thing with sitting far away. And the reason why sitting on the platform and going for shots is good is because a lot of times as Widow, you won't be taking shots while you're standing still. So you have to be able to take shots while you're moving. So this is a good place to do long range shots while you're moving.
Double kill. Triple kill. Quadruple kill. Quintuple kill.
So it adds like another element of freedom, where you're moving even more than just standing still. So you have to really be able to practice where your cursor is going to be. Because once you know, if you're able to connect exactly where the cursor is going to be in your mind and where it actually ends up being, you don't have to be able to flick super well or anything like that, as long as you can reliably put the cursor where you think the enemy's head's going to be. I would advise warming up while warming up in the practice range to not unscope, or to stay scoped in for as long as you can. So it'll help you keep your arm warmed up, so that you're able to turn around more quickly in game. Because as Widow, you probably want to stay scoped in for most of the time. And if you need to do more than like 3 arm turns to do a 180, I would recommend upping your sensitivity or DPI, one or the other.
Double kill. Triple kill. Quadruple kill.
So after warming up in the practice range, I typically will go to like a Widow lobby, just because it helps versus actual opponents rather than only the practice range bots. There's a Widow 1v1 going on. Let's see. We can go to Chateau, but I personally like the aim arenas in Havana. It's only 4 people right now, but hopefully that'll fill up faster. Unfortunate. Usually I'm a little rusty getting right out of the practice range because you have to adjust to different hitboxes. I feel like that should have hit. Ooh, that's close. Getting a weird lag. Okay. So that guy is a very predictable crouch pattern. He does the same thing every time. Yeah, he's doing the same thing. So this is all about turning around very quickly while staying in scope. Right? So it's the same premises in the training range. Try to stay scoped in for as long as possible. You shouldn't really have to unscope, because if you unscope, it decreases how fast you can take shots. Your DPS, so to say. So what I normally do in Widow 1v1s is mostly flick shots, because it's really easy to flick onto Widow's head, more so than other heroes, especially Hanzo, because Hanzo doesn't have a neck hitbox. If you hit his neck, it's a body shot, which is really wonky and annoying, and why Hanzo can feel really hard to hit sometimes. So Widow arenas are really important, I think, to help learn some very key muscle memory shots. So when someone jumps, right? Also for turning around quickly. Getting some weird ping lag. And one of the most difficult things to learn how to do is to hit someone when they're not looking at you. Because people's movement patterns are a lot different when they're not looking at you compared to when they are. And when they're not looking at you, it becomes very unpredictable. Choking a little bit here. That guy has a very predictable crouch pattern. Try to mix up your crouch patterns, especially when you're versing another Widow. I really thought I was gonna hit that shot, so I turned away. I run into this problem a lot where my keyboard is too close to my mouse. So my flicks can't be too hard to the left. I have to lift up my mouse. A little bit of lag there. So this guy's a interesting crouch pattern. Ooh. I really thought those shots were gonna connect. It's unfortunate. He crouched at like the perfect time. Damn. Damn, hit marker? Okay. I think I flicked too fast there. Okay. So right now I'm practicing like left to right flicks. Where'd he go? Guess he died. Most of the time I avoid jumping because it makes your trajectory like very predictable to other Widows. So you almost never want to jump in a Widow v Widow. It's only ever used as like a very rare mix-up. Like, don't jump like that. It's very predictable. This guy's crouch spamming. You have to kind of predict what the rhythm of other Widows are, and you want to shoot right when they're going to be in the part of the rhythm where they're not moving. So if you try to shoot right when someone's crouching, it can throw you off. But if you know their rhythm, you can shoot right when they're standing straight up. It's like this guy's doing a crouch rhythm. You just gotta get used to it. And once you're used to it, you can hit it pretty consistently. So that guy's doing the same rhythm. guys in the same rhythm. Do some weird lag. See, I'm not matching his rhythm right there, so I had to adjust. Took a little bit long to adjust to it though. In a real game, you probably won't get that much time, so you gotta figure out the enemy Widow's aiming style. But you, most of the time, you shouldn't be taking open duels like this, anyways. You should be trying to outsmart them positionally. But if you do happen to get into open duel, that's why Widow arenas are important. Oh, I got removed. Well, I guess that will end this this video for now. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you want to see some more. Peace.